Now we come to our requisition lines, the second necessary component of any requisition. One requisition can contain multiple requisition lines. Note that this is a grid. You can add as many lines as required. Also note that it is a tabbed grid, so each line has fields represented on each tab. You'll recall from your fundamentals training that all of the fields can be represented on a single tab if you wish, and that you can even customize which fields do and do not appear. Customization is great fun and can also be a player in acceptance and efficiency. It isn't quite as exciting for the technical team that has to support individually different user environments, however. We will spend the majority of our time looking at the Details tab. First, note that the requisition line numbers are assigned by the system. Next, you have a Details button. I'm going to skip over this because it only represents an alternative view of the fields available within the tabbed grid. Item. You either need to select an item to purchase or you need to enter a description and select a category. In this example, I'm going to select an item for purchase. What you see here is a list of items available for my purchase. They were derived from a national standard of NIGP commodity codes. Note that the grid is showing 300 rows. Your previous fundamentals training will have alerted you to this number. There are obviously more items than are currently showing, so I'll have to restrict my search. I'm going to search where item descriptions contain the word laboratory. "47 rows match my search criteria. That is much more manageable. I'm going to select some lab chemicals. Notice that some additional data defaulted onto the line. In fact, items are tied to a number of related fields. Let's take a closer look at the definition of this item. I will select WACTC as the set ID because items are globally defined, and I'm going to enter the item ID we just selected for purchase. Items are associated with item categories. Here you can see that the default category for this item is 175, which is why that value populated the category field on my requisition line when I selected this item. You can see that the default unit of measure is each, which also defaulted onto my requisition line. The physical nature is goods rather than services. Items can also be associated with a default account. If I click the purchasing item attributes, I can see that this item is associated with account 607010. That's brilliant. It means that an appropriate account is going to automatically populate the chart field string associated with this item. We will see that momentarily. Item definitions are definitely worth checking out. Their definition can include, for example, price. Ours won't be priced, however. An asset profile ID. You will learn more about this if you attend the asset management training. Account, as I just pointed out. Whether or not the item has to be received, whether or not the item has to be inspected, what to do if the items are only partially received, whether or not an RFQ is required. Suppliers can also be associated with an item, but we are not currently doing so. They also have a commodity code defined. Ours all match the item ID. Selecting an item from an item list will be new for your faculty and staff. You need to let them know that the list will not and cannot contain every possible item that they could wish to purchase. If used at all, the goal is to get close enough so that the appropriate account defaults in. Decision point. Would you prefer your people to select items for purchase, or would you prefer them to select only an item category? Here is what I see as the primary difference. Item categories can be associated with an account just as the items that belong to a category. If an item does have an account defined, it may or may not be the same account defined for the category. If it does not have an account defined, the account associated with the category will default in. And in either case, the entire chart field string can be changed by a buyer prior to approval and budget check.